The great one, Bob Kravitz from bobkravitz.com with us now.
Hello, Jim.
How are you, sir?
Anything new?
Not a thing, man. Just same old boring Fridays. Looking forward to the games this weekend, IHSA games. I'm going to go see Sharon Wilkerson and Pat Graham go at it tomorrow. They play, their teams play. Yeah, they're going to be on the show later.
All right.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I heard something about Liam McNeeley potentially decommitting from Indiana. Boy, did that bust my phone up last night.
I can imagine.
It just started going off. Earlier, Mike, I said there are three statements that have been made within, I don't know, has it been a week or a little longer than that? Mike Woodson says college basketball still runs inside out. Then the declaration that Mike Woodson would return. And then the day immediately after that, Liam McNeeley decommits.
I don't see a connection. Do you?
I
don't have any great insight. I don't have Liam McNeeley's number. I haven't texted him. And until he says,
you want it?
Yes, absolutely. Until he says something, we don't know. But gosh, I know Woody gets paid a lot of money. All these coaches get paid a lot of money. But when your job security is based on the whims of an 18-year-old, man, that's tough. That's just tough because 18-year-olds change their mind. I was going to say the way they change underwear, but with 18-year-olds, you never really know.
There's the true that. A major hit for Indiana, though, with 0 recruits now on the board. They only had the one, which was Liam. Prior to that, not a great sign. Then there was the fact that Mike Woodson, everything it was made a big deal that when the weekend of Indiana sectional play, he was the only major coach in the state that was not out and about watching guys play.
Well, there seems to be this idea that Mike just doesn't work very hard, and I don't know. I honestly don't know what the truth is because I'm not around Mike every day and don't know his schedule. That was one game. That was, I think, Sisley was playing that night, but gosh, what are they going to do? They got to go heavy and hard into the portal. I don't know. I assume Renew's coming back. I assume Mbako is coming back. I'm guessing Galloway is going to use his 5th year. Leal, but some guys are going to transfer. It's going to be an empty bucket there at Indiana University.
McNeeley might have decided that he was going to decommit prior to Indiana's announcement that Woodson was coming back. I don't know. I can tell you this. When I was down there, I went down to Montverde,
I know.
For the invitational tournament. And one of the things I asked both of the Derek Queen and Liam, are you watching the games? I specifically asked Liam, are you watching the games and seeing where your game may be able to help Indiana? And I've said this before, so this is not anything new, but as soon as I stopped speaking, I'm talking to Liam. Off camera is Derek Queen. And if you go back and listen to that interview, you can hear someone say, shooting. And it was Derek Queen that said that. Mm-hmm. So that at that moment, I knew Derek Queen was not coming to Indiana. I didn't
Makes sense.
Say a lot about that because it didn't have anything other than that guess, but I'm like, yeah, he's not coming. I think that he has a television, like the rest of us do, and he knows what the situation is. I just it's hard to say because it's all a guess.
It's all a guess.
It's all a guess, and let me be the first person to say that.
Well, look, they were playing poorly early in the season, and he was still committed.
Yeah, I think that he.
And they've won 3 in a row. They're starting to play better. It just doesn't make sense, you know. And I don't think I think you're right. I think this is a decision that he made maybe a short while ago. Because what's changed? I mean, it's not like they're suddenly playing bad. I mean, they've been bad all year long. You know, it can't be the fact that they announced that Woodson is coming back. You know, I was on Twitter late last night, and some people were saying, you know, it's the fans' fault that they chased him away. I think that's
horse crap.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, that's horse
nonsense. IU fans are no different, honestly, than North Carolina, Kansas. You go down the line. I mean, IU.
Let me tell you, if you put Kentucky fans in the situation that Indiana fans are currently in, with what they've had to deal with, it would be tyranny. I truly believe that. I get the frustration of Indiana fans.
Sure.
I do. And do they go overboard? Yeah. The petition, I think that was stupid.
That was ridiculous.
Absolutely. But that's what passion gets you. That's what happens. But when you are successful, that's why you have one of the greatest fan bases that there are, because they're massive. So you got to take the good and the bad.
Yeah, I don't buy that for 1 second. I mean, the petition was really it was really bad form. I don't even know who started that, but yeah, I was thinking this morning. I was having my coffee. I was thinking, how can I spin this forward? And honestly, until Mike Woodson talks today at 10:15 on the Zoom call, and I don't know how much he's going to be willing to talk about it, to be honest.
I bet you very, very little. I bet you he stands behind hey, we're not allowed to talk about certain recruits BS line, because they're not allowed to name them. But I think this is a conversation you could have where it would not fall into that.
No,
but be obvious as to what we're talking about.
Right. I would be very curious if this will force Woody to change the way he recruits, because he kind of went big. He took a mighty swing this year. He was looking at Derek Queen and Boogie, Fland, and McNeeley. I wonder if he'll change the way he approaches recruiting. That would be my question.
Well, changes it how?
Well, maybe doesn't go for the guys who are top 20, I mean, go for one of those and then start recruiting guys who look like they can play in your system the way, I don't know, Purdue does. I mean,
see, Bob, that would require having to actually get out, go watch guys, evaluate them, and get them into your system and elevate their play.
Are you suggesting? I'm sorry. Are you suggesting? And I'm putting you on the spot. Are you suggesting that Woody is not putting the time necessary into recruiting and whatnot?
I do not think he understands the commitment that it takes to be a college coach time-wise.
Okay.
I truly do.
You're closer to it than I am, so I'll take your word for it.
I do not think that he has an understanding of the time commitment that it takes. I really don't. And I will first, let me say, it's a little ridiculous some of the time that you have to do. You have to, love on these guys so much. Go see them and extra. And there's a little bit of ridiculousness to that. I'll say that. But it does not erase the fact that you have to do what you have to do.
Right. That was one
have that energy.
That was one of the things that when I was with the Athletic and Woodson got the job, I caught a lot of crap for saying, I don't know if a guy who's, what is he, 66, if he's going to have the energy and the desire to do all the garbage work that's required in the recruiting process. But again, I'm not there every day. I don't know his schedule. Yes, he didn't go to a sectional. I'm not going to hold that against him. But if there's a larger issue there, then that's something that Indiana's got to address.
Well, I can also tell you this. All right, this radio show. I know of at least 4 occasions that he was not at his own radio show.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe
he was out recruiting.
Maybe.
I'm just guessing. I have no idea. Yeah, but
maybe.
I just what's the point of a national letter of intent?
That's the next question. That's a great question, Bob, because they're now request a release from that, which Indiana does not have to give. Someone asked me, does Indiana have to give? No, they don't. No. But if you don't, you're looked at as holding somebody hostage.
Right.
And how well do you expect that relationship to be if you're making somebody come? Because I promise you the next thing would be a lawsuit because the NCAA loses everything. And if that happened, that would maybe bring down the house.
That would bring down the house. No doubt about it. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You got to give him his release. And, I mean, the saving grace, I think, is that with the portal the way it is, you can get well fast. And Indiana's Woody's going to have to really beat the bushes. God knows they have the money in NIL. They're set up well. But Woody's going to have to, this is going to be a very key summer for him, spring and summer, to bring in a couple of human beings. And as I mentioned before, we don't know who else is going to transfer.
No.
I would think that Renew's back. I would think even though Mbako is starting to play like a late draft pick, I would think he's back. I would hope. I would assume that Galloway will probably use the COVID year and stick around. But, that none of those things are sure things. And how is it going to affect those guys knowing that McNeeley is not coming? The direction of this thing is really fraught with danger.
Very much so, because now Indiana is in danger next season of being next year could be really ugly.
It could be really ugly.
Really ugly. And did Indiana put themselves in a worse position by that? The announcement that Mike Woodson would be back. First of all, that's something you normally don't see. Zach Osterman, who broke that story, was on with us yesterday, and it had just got out of hand enough that they felt they needed to say something.
Well, the portal is just starting to open, correct? It doesn't the portal.
It doesn't open until after the NCAA tournament, I believe, right?
Okay. Well, I think
that's not true. It does, as soon as the regular season ends for your team, you can go in the portal.
Right. And
there are certain players that are already in the portal right now.
That's what I thought. And so I think they wanted to make sure that the kids knew, and that's one of the problems when you have a 66-year-old coach. Again, I think he's 66.
65, something like that.
Yeah, he's around my age because we went to school together. But I think that they felt compelled, with all the noise out there, to make it clear to recruits that Woody was going nowhere, because that they're using his age against him. They did that with Gene Cady late in his career. They said, well, why do you want to go to Purdue? He's 100 years old. He's not going to be there, by the time you're a junior. So what's the point? So I think that that had a whole lot to do with it. I had no problem with them saying what they said because there was so much noise.
Yeah, and there's going to have to be a lot done to kind of mend this chasm with the fans. But the great thing about Indiana fans is they're still going to show up for the most part. But there's just a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth over this spring. Oddly enough, Liam McNeeley and Montverde will be participating in the Chipotle National Finals right here in Brownsburg. So that's going to be odd this summer as well.
Where does he end up? Kansas?
You know, as John talked about earlier, that's definitely an option. But also a lot of people when Maryland keeps popping up, joining Derek Queen there. And they have a decent recruiting class coming in. They play a much more modern style of basketball, for one thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you want to break it down, if I had to, which I do have to, if I had to give you my guess, it's because of the style of basketball Indiana plays.
Yeah, but
it's not fun.
It's not fun, but you got to play to your strengths. And where's their strength? I mean, they can't play, 4 out. They can't play. They can't play small. I mean, all their best players are big guys in the front court with with Renew and Ware and Mbako. I think he's just trying to play to his strength. When you've got no guard play, I don't know that you can play any other way than inside out. So I don't know. It's just mysterious, this whole thing.
Yeah, you don't have to be a team that hits 12 3-pointers a game. You just need 7 to 8 solid ones when you have a team like Indiana. But that's something that they were not able to do.
No.
And
if anything, Jim, I would think McNeeley would look at this team and say, "Holy crap! There's a big chasm there I can fill." He's got to look at this team and say they've got no outside shooting. Hey, wait a minute! I'm a hell of an outside shooter. I could really, play a ton right away and help this team a lot. So I don't think the style of play has anything to do with it. I'll be curious if he ever addresses this. I would hope that he would at some point, but I doubt that he will.